Well, welcome into this very exciting episode of Get Better Together. We're in for a ride today. We have our good friend of the show and super producer of the Scene Projects, Boo Boo, in the house with us. And we're going to get into some stuff you've never shared publicly before. So, really excited to allow you some space and to have you share with us today, Boo Boo. Welcome in, friend.
Hey, I'm happy to share with you and let people know what's going on. I'm glad you gave me a space to tell my story outside of music as well.
Well, and it was kind of funny. I had to laugh because it was like, well, where else would you do it? Right? You're so intricately woven into what the scene projects are and where we're going, that it only made sense to get on here. And obviously, we've talked a lot on Zoom, on the phone, text messages, messenger messages back and forth. But a lot of that has been behind the scenes and hasn't necessarily been in the public eye. So, uh, I don't know how far back you want to go. You don't have to go all the way back to the beginning, but this show's all about getting out. What's on your heart, right? And there's no parameters to work within. Kind of just want you to freely share and tell us the saga of Boo Boo.
Well, I mean, born and raised in northeastern South Dakota. My parents, my dad's been an alcoholic my whole life, and when I was younger, my mom was really into opiates, so I didn't have much parental structure. I was always out fighting and things by the time I was like 6, 7 years old, just getting into physical altercations and fights and doing all the bad stuff you're not supposed to do. Yeah, it I don't know what was really going on with me. I had a lot of anger in me, as a young child. I think it was from the lack of my parents and being around. And then as I got older, I watched my brother fall into meth and huffing and all that stuff. And I watched him almost kill my dad when I was like 10 years old. I mean, it's been a lot
Yeah,
there when I
uh,
was just a child.
yeah. I mean, my kids are right around that age. And if they would have grown up in that environment, they wouldn't be the same kids that they are now, right?
Oh,
Uh
absolutely not.
my heart goes out to you, man. You know, we've worked together quite a bit the last few months, and you've shared a little bit with me, but never in a safe space like this is. It's always kind of been more work related, and our personal lives kind of filter into that. But that's a lot to deal with, man, before you even hit double digits. And then by that time, I'm sure you're in plenty of trouble at school and possibly with law enforcement by that time.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't good. I was already getting suspended most of the school year by the time I was in third grade. I spent more time at home doing my work than I did in school. And I mean, it just kept getting worse, and I would get violent. And I mean, even then, my dad started getting violent until I started hitting him back. So, I mean, yeah, things would get crazy because my mom worked out of town, so she did drugs when she was, home. But like she stopped by the time I was like 7. So after that, it was just my dad getting drunk and either verbally or physically abusing me when my mom wasn't around.
Well, and no wonder that you would go and behave that way in public. I mean, that's what you're seeing at home. That's what you're having done to you at home. You're experiencing physical violence in these places that should be safe with people who should love you. And that's a really it's a tough existence, dude. That's I can't imagine, you know. I didn't spend a lot of time at home going through, high school because of my own things, but I had an out, I guess. right? And it seems like you really didn't have, especially at that age, you don't have an option to get out of there, right? When you're a little bit older and you're a teenager, you have a little more autonomy over your life, right? To say, screw it, I don't need this, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, where does that lead you when you hit, those teenage years in high school? I mean, are you still in school at this time? Are you able to get, to high school age and to not be permanently suspended?
I got expelled when I was in sixth grade, but I don't know how I convinced them to let me back. And that time they put me on an IEP, and in the school district I was in now, they basically couldn't expel me because of that paperwork. And but by the time I was about halfway through seventh grade, I had started doing drugs and things up until I met this girl, and we were talking and things. We'd break up, I'd end up doing drugs again, we'd get back together, I'd get clean, just kind of the cycle. And then freshman year hit, and my addiction to like pills and alcohol and everything got really bad because she kicked the stool and she took herself out and hung herself in her closet. I woke up to that news one day, and I mean, my mom left to go do something, and I pounded her whole bottle of vodka, and I started taking painkillers again. I called up someone to come deliver them to me. I paid them, and I did like 10 of those. And yeah, it was an issue for sure.
As a 14-year-old
That was a 15-year-old.
still. And my heart goes out to that young lady's family and having to do that. And um, that's not your fault. I hope that you know that.
I
Um,
know now that it's not.
that's a lot at that age.
Yeah, I mean, the same year, 5 months later, my friend, he had a disease. He finally, he passed. And literally about a month before that, my other friend hung himself from some monkey bars. So, I mean, that was 2019 for me.
That is just not that long ago. These
Yeah, no.
no, these wounds are very, very fresh. Um, I really don't even know what to say. That's heavier than most people I think that are going to listen to this. That's heavier than their entire lives will be, right? Just what you've covered before you've even really had a chance to live a life at all. You are mired in addiction. You are abused consistently. You have, an on and off again relationship that ends permanently when, this young lady takes her own life, another friend takes his own life, another friend who was sick loses their life. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. And we're talking about a 15-year-old who has no support system at home, nobody really to turn to even attempt to work
Actually,
through these
at about
emotions.
this time, my brother he was getting clean. He had a kid on the way. So I started having a support system with my oldest brother. He started kind of coming back and being part of the world again around that same time that everything happened to me. He just started sobering up and being there.
Now, do you think his sobriety changed your life?
It definitely helped me get through a lot of different things because he really became my main source of like emotional support or anything. If I needed something, I went to him.
And I mean, he comes from, you have the same father.
Same mother.
Same. Okay. And yeah, so he kind of starts to take a little bit of that fatherly role in your life then, would you say?
Yeah, he definitely started to like help take care of me and things. About the same time he was my age I am now, he was starting to step up and, you know, really helped me out a lot.
Yeah, and I mean you're still a very young man. I think that's what gets lost for me because you are so mature um in the way that you present yourself now, and now I know why. You've lived a lot of you've lived a lot in a very short amount of time. Um
Yeah, I mean, even going into the coming years, my cousin got in a head-on car accident with I can't think of what it's called, but it's like the farming thing, you know, that they always drive on those roads in Nebraska. And then at the same intersection, the same thing happened to his sister 6 months later, and that was actually 2019, 2020 too, because he died on September 21st. Yeah, about 5 years.
yeah, that's
All
just
right.
a lot of death around a young man that is already having addiction issues, right? That's a
Yeah.
lot of tragedy to befall around you, right? Not necessarily, always directly to you, but, around you. And this is where, your older brother starts to step in here and to help you a little bit. I mean, this is a short timeline, and I want everyone to realize that we're talking 2020 and up to the current now. So this is all very, very fresh. This isn't something that's ancient history. Um,
Yeah,
and
I mean, even the oldest we went back was 11 years.
right. Well, and you're a very young man, and I don't think
Yeah.
that most people would realize that whether they're meeting you in person or seeing you, affiliated with what we're building here, right? I'm almost twice your age. Uh and it's hard for me to fathom a lot of the things that have happened to me, but you've had quite a bit happen to you as a young man. What's a turning point? Where is it that you're finally, you know, wanting to change that life? At what point are you able to start actually coping with some of these things? I mean, you mentioned your brother as a role model. You have someone here for emotional support now. Is there,
It took a few years, honestly. Like, I was able to get off the drugs in a year or so, but the alcohol stuck for a few more years, and I just kept, going down that path all the way up until last year, you know? And last year I became a felon because of what I did, you know? And yeah.
but with that, do you now sober? Right? Forced or not, still sober. Plenty of people choose to not be while they're on, probation or parole or in prison. Now, having do you find that you have some clarity to look back at some of these things and identifying the reasons for the drug and alcohol abuse that kind of dominate your entire life. Um,
I mean, it was what I saw as normal growing up, you know what I mean? Even like sometimes I wake
right.
up in the middle of the night, I'd look out there and you'd see my uncle freaking weighing cocaine on the kitchen table when I'm supposed to be sleeping. Yeah,
Yeah, and just a pervasive an environment that's not conducive to raising young men or being good people. I mean, I was the one, there weighing it with him. Not physically right, but in that regard,
yeah,
I've been in those houses. I in some ways I have been that parent, right? And you know, thank God I didn't have all my kids then. Um, and I don't know if it would have been different if situations were different. I would assume not. So I'm glad that honestly, in hearing your story, I'm glad that I went through my lived experience and that I did go through the prison sentence that I did. I did find sobriety. I did find um answers to my whys behind the abuse of drugs and alcohol. And because where I'm at in my life now is that, I have kids that are the age that you are, or you were rather, when you're experiencing all of these things. So this is really an eye-opening conversation for myself, to just kind of reflect on a life that could have been, and effectually the lives of my children telling this story, right? I mean,
yeah, and yeah, and I mean, like, you're doing a lot better than my parents were. I mean, I became that uncle and stuff because, like, my dad had me selling weed for him when I was still in high school. And then I moved into selling pills. I moved into selling everything I could. I wanted money, and that's all I cared about was money and doing the drugs I liked to feel better. And I was destroying my community. I was destroying lives. I was ruining people because I wanted to make a quick buck. I wanted to get high.
it's a heavy toll to weigh against oneself to put you know, that kind of karma on yourself, right?
Yeah,
And I think often as young men, we make those decisions and we don't consider the weight of that. Um, yeah, I mean, all those same things, boo boo. I mean, that is my lived experience, right? Which it
yeah.
sounds like
I
might not
was,
have been dissimilar to that of your father. I mean, if he's sending you out to sell weed at the school, um, that's
yeah. I mean, they raided us when I was 16. They just couldn't catch us for the felonies. I mean, it wasn't very, healthy or good or safe environment. I don't feel like every time we left town, we got robbed.
yeah, that doesn't feel very
It's
safe, right?
just,
So yeah, your
yeah,
dad was a known drug dealer.
yeah, I'd say
If you're getting
known to
robbed every
everyone but
time
the
you leave the
cops.
house, dude, yes. Then that's not yeah, if it's not the cops, it's a former customer or current customer that knows you're out of town breaking into your house. Jesus.
Yeah,
That was a
exactly.
Yep, that's the lifestyle, right? Man, boo boo, that's
Yeah, it's not a good lifestyle.
no, well, I mean, I lived it, but and yeah, um, I'm glad that I didn't continue down that road. I am, yeah, I'm grateful to have that life, right? That drug dealer life, I'm glad that that was taken away from me, and that after I had experienced that, that I reached for something else. And I think
Yeah.
that's where that we are making the turning point in your story, Boo Boo. We are, even just a year ago, you were kind of doing a lot of the same things.
Yeah, I mean, I got drunk, fought the cops, ended up with a felony, and look at me now, you know?
Well, I don't know how you looked back then, but I feel like you look healthy now.
Yeah,
Maybe not always happy, but with so much darkness, not just in your past, but even in your, it's not that long ago, right? It's not easy to put, you know, all of that to bed and to just start fresh. And I mean, you're still living in the same town that you grew up in. You're still in so many ways surrounded by the same environment. I I had
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, it's a lot of the same environment and things. Just even if you're not hanging out with people that did, this town is that environment. It's just not really a good place anymore. It was years ago, but it's fallen downhill and it's going faster each day.
Well, and that's a good excuse to get you out of there and to bring you into the light that we are to the world, right? And you're so much help to
Exactly.
us. I would have never assumed any of that because how could you even assume all of that darkness? But my heart goes
Sometimes
out
the
to you, Boo Boo.
darkest clouds hide behind the brightest smiles, man.
Yeah, well, and you're about to shine. I mean, I know where we're going, and that's why it's kind of hard to like juxtapose like the boo-boo that I know and this very committed and very motivated individual to do all of these things, and like your frustrations now are that, the limited technology that we have access to right now because we're broke is keeping you from really, I'm sure getting a lot of this out there in song, in music, right? But
Exactly.
or it's yeah, man, and my heart goes out to you. It makes sense why we would be fast friends, why I would see so much in you, because I see a lot of myself in you, and I see a lot of my like I said, what could have been in your situation, that could have been my kids' lived experience, right? And I think you're in my life to be a constant reminder of that life maybe that could have been, and to do everything that I can to help you continue to grow as a young man and as a musician, as a podcaster, as an executive producer, one day of not just your own show but a great many others. I'm really glad that I've gotten to know you, Boo Boo. It's been a pleasure working with you and having you as really, one of my greatest assets in the scene projects, and to continue to watch you grow, not just, as a person, but within our structure, within what the scene projects are becoming as we turn into a whole different animal in the next year. So that birthday of yours and probation being in the past cannot come soon enough. I I want you to talk a little bit about the all the things that you have going on now. We know enough about your past now, Boo Boo, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing that. To know that even you just being alive is, in all honesty, a goddamn miracle. And for you to have your head on
Yeah.
straight is even more so. And we aren't going to waste that lived experience of yours by, allowing you to ever stumble or fail. I think our fans are going to get to endear themselves to you in much the same way that I am. So, why don't you talk about the Freestyle Freak Out podcast a little bit? And yeah, we'll talk some more about what you're doing for the scene projects before I let you get out of here.
Yeah, so we got the Freestyle Freak Out podcast I do. It's a great thing. I interview artists. I'll take artists of any genre who want to come hop on a beat and go off of the dome music. I interview you. I ask you some questions. I bring out some things I've researched, and then I play some beats I've made, and you can either keep going until you're tired or until you have something to do until we run out. I hosting it. I always have great guests on. I mean, even beyond that, I'm working on a whole album about positivity to help people through situations because I've been through a lot and I want everybody else to be able to, process things easier and not have to sit around for years being, struggling with things like I was. And even beyond that, after that, I'm already writing my self-titled album. It is not called Boo Boo. You guys will learn my first name when that drops. And I'm going to do a 2025 remaster of Since You Left for that. So, yeah, a lot going on, a lot of shows as well. And the Freestyle Freak Out, just a lot.
Do you feel
Just trying to
overwhelmed?
better my life. And yes, but like, I don't know. I do, but I don't. Some points I do, but most of the time I just understand what I'm doing and it's a breeze.
I ask
Right
because
now I'm a
it's,
little overwhelmed because, yeah,
well, I ask because people always ask me the same thing. And it's like I
I'm
don't
a
I
little
don't know any
overwhelmed
other
with the
way.
DAW issue, but
Right. Well,
yeah,
we're gonna
like
figure that
I'm
out.
either all work or I'm nothing. Like I don't know. I'm either all stop or all go. I don't have that in between.
There's no coasting,
No, there's no cruise control. It's pedal to the metal.
no governors either. We don't unlimited speed, and it feels like we're on a rocket ship right now. So I'm glad we took the time to kind of get this part out, to get your story out there a little bit. I'm sure it's relieving for you. It's been eye-opening for me to know the man that I'm working so closely with. I think that was important for just on a personal level for us being, partners going forward, right? On so many things where we can collaborate, to know where you came from. I think it's important. And I know it's important because as I've done that through so many episodes on, this show and all of our others on the scene projects and sharing bits of myself that like I feel better. I feel like a great weight has been lifted. I should be making notes of what I got out on what podcast episode so I can just direct people there. But um this archive of our lives, right? I think it's important. I think it's important because we can then like file that away and we can put it out of our heads and we don't have to talk about all of these things anymore, right? I mean, yeah, sure, they made us who we are, but there's the story if you want to go find it.
Yeah,
I don't have to tell that story every day. I don't have to repeat that story to myself every day. I think there's power in that.
yeah. I don't like telling the story all the time. Now, if you want to know my story, I'll send you the link because I'm sick of hearing it. It's a sad story. So I mean, it's got a happy ending, but it's still a sad story.
That's a
Uh,
great way to put it. I just don't want to tell it anymore. I'm
Yeah,
tired of telling it.
yeah, I'm tired of hearing my own story. I mean,
Yeah, it's time to go write new ones. And that's exactly what we are going to do, Boo Boo. I'm I'm so proud of you as a young man to have gone through
thank
what
you.
you've gone through. I know you had some troubles, but you are, you corrected at just the right time. I'm really fortunate that we met. I'm very fortunate because of what you meant to me, but it sounds like the feeling and that it's mutual, right? That the scene projects,
You're
I've always said
very
it's not mine.
cautious.
Well, and I've always said that this isn't mine, it's ours,
You've
right?
always told me it's, yeah, because we're building it together. You've just
Exactly.
been here since it was just the ground. I came in a little bit in the building process, but I'm here.
You are here and you've been the water, right? You've been the water to the sunshine and the energy that I can bring to this thing. My you know, my greatest asset I think is to that quick infusion of energy and that supportive encouraging nature is great for starting. It is, but you need that water to sustain. You need people that can do the everyday stuff and to schedule all of this content out while I am out there also starring in a lot of our content, right? Like I am the star of our own show. I am the host of all of these things. So there's so much time in a day. I have duties that I need to perform. And I can't do all of those if I'm behind the computer. So you've taken a great deal of that off of my plate. I still have to do a lot of it. You're right. I still have to do a lot of things to get you to that point. But that's where you're going to grow at is being able to facilitate more and more of these things on your own. And I'm excited to grow with you, man. We've had a really exciting week of announcements. We're working with the district in Sioux Falls, as you very well know. We are going to be out at the Buffalo Chip for Rally. We got a scholarship to a huge podcast conference called Podcast Movement taking place in Dallas, Texas later in August. So we're like hitting our stride, right? Boom, boom, boom. All of these things happening. And the podcast is really about to take off where when I'm on the road like that, I can't be thinking about, oh my God, we got to post this and do the right. Like I just need to be able to put it somewhere and to roll with it. And that is what you're able to do to take our content and make sure it gets where it needs to go and make sure that everybody sees it. And I think that it's going to pay huge, huge dividends for us in the next, I don't know, the rest of our lives, right? It's already paying dividends, right? It's already working. It's just a matter of when is that critical mass, right? And maybe that is a lot sooner than all of us thought. But I uh I love you, dude. I appreciate everything you've done for me these last few months. It's been incredible.
I love you too, brother. I'm glad I met you. You're a great person to work with, and definitely the scene is where I want to stay. I know that for sure.
Well, you got a home here. And for someone who's never had a safe place like this is your home too, right? And all that we ask in that, right? And that we ask of anyone is treat it like you would your own home. And take some accountability,
Exactly.
right? And hold yourself to that standard. And I think that's both what I've needed myself and what we're able to provide to others. It gives us, all of us who are independent, artists and everything, it gives us a chance to be accountable to something that's greater than ourselves, to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And I hope that the scene projects can continue to elevate that standard for all of those people around us. So, Boo Boo, I appreciate you jumping in with me today. Not easy to share things like this with the world. But I'm honored. I'm honored to be the one that you share it with, and that you trust us, that you trust me with a lot more than just your story, but also trusting me with your future, and making me the captain of the ship. And because without you, there's no crew to be a captain of, right? So you have your presence here has elevated me to a new role in my own company, and I appreciate the hell out of you for it. And man, I can't wait to finally meet you in person here before too long, huh?
Yeah, hopefully not too long, couple more months, right?
Yeah, well, and you might get a special trip out of me. It's too bad that I didn't think about it when I was coming home from Minnesota the last time, because I came home, I went over to North Dakota first and then came south, and I blew right through town, man. And now I regret not giving you a ring. That was rude of me, but I had my own bed on my mind, and I was doing 85 down the interstate.
Hey, five over, that's the law.
Yeah, well, it's South Dakota anyway. Hey, brother, I hope you have
Yeah,
an
I
awesome
mean,
day.
that's just the rule. Yep, do too.
We will chat soon. For everyone else getting to know us through our podcast here, and looking for a community of people that will accept you and are here to support you in any part of the journey of life that you may be in, I encourage you to come and join our communities, like us on all your social medias, and start to engage with us in these things, because this is what we're building. A community is what we all crave. A lot of us kind of lost kids, no matter our age. I think we're all searching for family, and we decided to make our own. So come and join us on all of our social media, get better together, and we will see you next time. Thank you, Boo Boo.
No problem. Enjoy telling my story.